Bonjour, Emily.
Bonjour, Caroline.
We are the Real Fishwives of Paris, and today we have a guest. Bonjour, Yves.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Yves Cuilleron is a legendary winemaker from the Northern Rhône who is famous for many things, not least of which rescuing Vienne from extinction. But that is a different episode because today we're going to talk about the creation of a new appellation. So can you tell us about yourself, please?
So I am a winemaker in Northern Rhône, in a small village called Chavanais. It's just in the middle of the Contrôlée appellation. And I own a family vineyard. I am the third generation. It's my grandfather, Claude Cuilleron, who began to bottle wine during the 40s. After it was my uncle, Antoine Cuilleron, between 1960 to 1987. And me, my first harvest, it's 1987.
That's the year we were born.
It is the year we were born.
Yes, it's beginning to be a long time.
Yeah.
And so I think one thing we're really interested in speaking with you about, because you have so many projects, so many feathers in your cap, we're really excited about your role in creating this new appellation. And we here at the Real Fishwives of Paris love ourselves a paradox. So you're creating a new appellation, but in an area that's very, very old, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. For me, it's not a creation.
Okay.
It's because I need to explain the Northern Rhône. Northern Rhône, it's a very old vineyard planted by the Romans and always with a good reputation because it's a beautiful place. It's a terroir in terraces near the Rhône Valley, and all the wine from Northern Rhône have always a good selling and good reputation. And we have an old book from the 18th, 19th century where the Condrieux, the Hermitage, the Contrôlée was the most good wine from France and from the world at this time. And but we have a bad period in Northern Rhône. It's the beginning of the 20th century. After the phylloxera crisis, we have the First and the Second World War. And because the vineyard is very difficult to work, a big part of the Northern Rhône vineyard disappeared during this period. And there is a renaissance with me. In fact, during the 80s, there is a generation. We replant, we make the renaissance of the Northern Rhône.
So Yves mentioned phylloxera. Phylloxera is a little bug that comes over from the Americas in the late 1800s and eats the roots of the vineyards, which causes them to slowly die. It took a while to figure it out, and it was devastating all over the world. And then, we have this. Then we have World War I. Then we have World War II. So the entire wine industry globally, I believe, really is a post-World War II construction because everything that came before was massively disrupted by this, essentially a pandemic for grapes, and then these wars and the global disruption. There's a lot of reasons why maintaining the vineyards was not financially or physically possible because these are high-intensity vineyards to farm. It's difficult. You cannot use machines. These are labor of love, really.
Yes, it's the fact it's in terraces, so it's very hard to work. It needs a lot of arms to work the vineyard.
So we're talking about basically the Northern Rhône is from a town called Montélimar in the south up to Vienne in the north. But Côte-Rôtie is a little bit south of Vienne. Hermitage is sort of in the middle. We have a few appellations: Saint-Joseph, Cros-Hermitage, Condrieux, which is the Viognier that you rescued from almost sudden death, which is, again, another story that's very interesting. But what we're going to talk about today is an area called the Vin de Vienne or Sessuel, which is north of the city of Vienne, closer to where we are right now in Lyon, but was fully abandoned, right? I mean, there was nothing.
Yes. I explained the story of the Northern Rhône because Sessuel is the same story, but the Condrieux or Côte-Rôtie nearly disappear, but always stay. But Sessuel totally disappear. And we create the appellation during the 30s and the 40s. And at this time, there is no vineyard in Sessuel, so no appellation, and the vineyard totally disappear.
So you created basically basically, I mean, not you personally, but the appellation system was created in the 30s and 40s. And most appellations we know of were created at the same time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The first appellation for wine and for everything, it's created by a winemaker from Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Baron Leroy.
Okay.
I want to take a second to explain appellations again. And we say this every time on this podcast. We're going to say it again. I'm going to keep explaining the appellation system. And so basically an appellation is a set of rules that is attached to a place. So it is the idea that the place is what makes it special, but that it also comes with traditions.
Yes.
For wine, that means grape variety. It means wine making. It means farming. It means packaging, the bottles. We have AOC, Appellation d'origine Contrôlée. We also have AOP, Appellation d'origine Protégée, which is the more modern version.
It's the new name of AOC.
And so that's the top tier. Beneath that, we have IGP. That's Indication Géographique Protégée. An IGP is a lot looser. It's still some protection. It's still a regional designation. And then the other words that we're going to use, we're going to talk about the INAO. So the INAO is INAO, and that is the
Institut National
d'Origine.
Appellation d'origine.
Appellation d'origine. Institut National d'Appellation d'Origine. And the INAO is the governing body. And so the INAO are the people who in the 30s, I think it was called something else then, but they're the ones who basically got experts together to systematize and bureaucratize and officialize all of this work. And
but let's rewind a little bit, because you were talking also about when the appellations, the original appellations were being created, because Sestuel had no vines. Is that what you were saying?
No appellation.
Yeah.
And it's for that I am with two other friends, Pierre Gaillard and François Villard, at the origin of the first reputation of the vineyard of Sestuel. We find that in the old book that it was planted, it was the first vineyard planted in Northern Rhône before the Contrôlée, the vineyard of Sestuel. And after, we have a lot of books who speak about Sestuel in the 18th, 19th century. And always it was a great appellation from Northern Rhône at this time. And the vineyard totally disappeared. And so we decide, we make a joint venture of three winemakers. We create the company Vienne, and we plant the first vines in 1996.
So you planted these grapes with the idea of bringing back.
But we take the grapes, it was writing in the old book. So it's for that it was planted with Syrah and Viognier. It's for that we replant only, even if we can plant other grapes, we decide to replant only the variety planted in the past, because the idea behind it was to refine the appellation. Because for us it's a forgetting from the story, this appellation. So we want to
bring it back to what it was,
yes.
to its previous, greatness, right?
Yes, because it's a very beautiful terroir. It's the same soil than Contrôlée, because normally you have the Rhône River, and on the right side of the Rhône, it's the old mountain from France, Massif Central. It's a granitic soil. And the other side, the left side of the Rhône, it's sediment from the Alps. So it's very different, the terroir in the two sides of the Rhône. But sometimes the Rhône cut the Massif Central. And it's so the vineyard of Sestuel is in front of Contrôlée, and we have exactly the same soil than Contrôlée.
It's interesting because today, when we're dealing obviously with climate change too, those vineyards are southwest facing, right? And Côte-Rôtie is southeast facing.
Yeah.
So actually there's an advantage to being southwest. It's a little bit cooler, right? And it's a little bit further north.
Yes.
And so it's a slightly cooler vineyard, which is good for Syrah.
Yes. For instance, the global warming for Northern Rhône, it's not a bad thing, because before the global warming, Northern Rhône was a little too cool.
Okay.
And sometimes we have to add sugar, because we harvest often under 12% of sugar in the grapes. And now with the new climate, we are more maturity regular. And for instance, it's not too much.
Okay.
It's okay.
For now, it's okay. Good.
It's perfect. And it's fact that the Sestuel vineyard, it's more at the north. So for us, it's a good thing, especially with the global warming.
Oh, yeah. So when you're talking about the specificity of the terroir and the fact that this terroir is so comparable to Côte Rôtie, I think what's interesting sometimes for American consumers who come to France for the first time, they're used to going to a wine shop and naming a grape. They walk in and they say, I want a Merlot or I want a Chardonnay. And when we're in France, we don't really do that. We say, I want a Bordeaux or even more specific, I want a Saint-Emilion, I want... and so when you have such a huge amount of land and such a wide variety of terroirs in the IGP, I'm assuming that the reason that you've started pursuing the appellation status is because you have this unique terroir that isn't really indicated on the bottle. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the problem, yes, normally with the EGP wine, we put the name of the grapes. So me, at the Yves Cuilleron, I produce some Syrah EGP, Viognier EGP, and but for this wine, we don't want to use Syrah because we want to. For us, it's an appellation. And in appellation in France, you don't put the grapes because you prefer to focus on the terroir and not in the grapes. So we planted the first vineyard in 1996. We were the 3 winemaker. And after, there is other producer arrive in 2000, 2004. And now we are 25 producers.
Wow.
And we have nearly, in totality, 70 hectares.
Okay.
And so we begin to ask to have an appellation. And certainly this year, we will be Côte du Rhône. So we move to IGP to AOP Côte du Rhône, but we don't want to be AOP Côte du Rhône. No. We want to be cru. So as soon we will be Côte du Rhône, we will ask to be cru. But we have to beginning by Côte du Rhône because Côte du Rhône were not in Isère where the vineyard is. So
so this is extra complex because basically you're asking Côte du Rhône, which is a huge appellation, to get bigger.
Yeah.
So we have basically, and this is very French paperwork. You can't go straight to what you want. You have to go sideways and skip over and around until you get to the vraie appellation.
This is, I think, symptomatic of the bureaucracy that governs most of life in France. When you were talking earlier about the fact that most of the appellations were created in the 30s, the new ones, which are mostly happening in regions like Languedoc, you have to be absorbed into the bigger appellation before you can create your little appellation.
We can't have a cru if we are not in the big appellation Côte du Rhône.
Oh my gosh.
Because we are allowed, when you are in Condrieu or in Côte Rôtie, you can sell your wine if you want in Côte du Rhône. You can declassify it in Côte du Rhône. So the Côte du Rhône have to be inside the Côte Rôtie or Condrieu.
Interesting.
Like Russian nesting dolls, but appellations.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when was the first piece of paperwork that you gave to the INAO to start this process? What year was that?
It takes a long time. We begin to ask to be appellation more than 10 years ago. It's because also Côte du Rhône, it's a huge appellation.
Right.
So when they make a revision of the Côte du Rhône, it's a lot of work to see because they don't make the revision only for us. When they decide to make the revision, they go everywhere in the appellation. So it's a lot of work.
There's so many parts to it because it's not just about the paperwork. You have to create the cahier
des charges.
Cahier des charges, which is basically a huge document.
Yeah.
And that is going to outline the physical boundaries, which is always going to anger someone. There's always someone who wants to be in, who's out. You know, there's politics.
Yes.
And then you all collectively have to decide. You know, so you're asking a lot of people to agree on something, which is difficult too.
Yes, so now we are, I said, 25 producers. So we have a team, but we have all in the same. We have a good. It's a good team. That's because we want all have the best for the appellation. So there is no fight.
That's good.
That's good.
So what is in the cahier de charges?
So the cahier des charges, it was easy because it looked like the cahier des charges of the Côte-Rôtie or Condrieu, because the cahier des charges of all the appellation was made in 2009, and it's not very long time ago.
Okay.
So it was very more precise than the other cahier des charges. So we take inspiration of that, but we also adapt with our...
That's good.
So what are, for example, the grapes that are allowed, and how big is the area?
So the area, I think it's 200 hectares.
Okay.
But it will be difficult to plant more than 100 hectares.
Okay.
Because there is a lot of place protected by the...
By the state?
Yes, by the state, the trees,
Okay.
the natural place.
Sure.
Yes, yes.
Stuff.
Yeah. And which grapes are allowed in the AOP?
So,
Or in the appellation, not in AOP
appellation,
yet.
so we decide to have the two colors. So we want to have Sessuel red and white. So, and we have two grapes, Syrah and Viognier. And for the red, we want to do like in Côte-Rôtie, we can add Viognier with the Syrah.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that's really cool because that's adding white wine to a red wine.
Yes, it's a specificity of Côte-Rôtie to have a white variety since a very long time. It's an old tradition and the Viognier, it's a variety with a lot of expression, a lot of aromatic, and it gives a complexity for the red and the finesse to the red too. Yes.
Are there any techniques that you've also included in the cahier des charges in addition to the grapes and the region?
So we have the yield, how you prune the vineyard, how you the density of plantation, the number, the higher of the
The height of the actual vines?
Yeah, yes.
Oh wow, okay.
The number of leaf, for example.
Okay. Lots of regulations.
Yes,
we do like a rule in this country.
Well, I mean, all of the appellations have these rules.
Yeah.
And I think
yes, all appellation.
people follow them the best they can.
Yes, so we have a control. So we have a cahier des charges, and we have a controller who if you respect the densities.
And that person works for the now?
It's a neutral organism. It's not ENAO. It's a private organism.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of similar in the United States to the organic system, where you have the USDA that's controlling the organic label, and then they hire other companies.
It's the same than the organic.
Okay. Cool. And I heard you also had another little stumbling block that you had to come up against, which is the name. So Sessuel is the historic name of this region.
Yes. We take long time to find the name, and finally we have it.
Okay.
In the old book, when it was speaking about this vineyard, it was always Sessuel. But Sessuel, there is an appellation not very far who is called Sessel. So the idea is to put two names, Sessuel and Vienne.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if the name it's Vienne Sessuel, I think.
Vienne Sessuel,
Yes.
Yes, Sessel
Sessel, yes. It
is in the Savoie.
Savoie,
but it's so obscure. It's so little. Nobody knows it.
Nobody knows it.
It's a pétillant, isn't it? It's a
yes, a pétillant.
It's like a it's a crémant. It's a sparkling Altesse from the Savoie. It's like so random.
It's basically like when you get a movie star who tells you that they had to change their stage name when they become like Nathan Lane is not actually called Nathan Lane. He's got a different first name, but there was somebody already registered with that name. So
that's crazy.
You have to bow down to a lesser star.
Yeah.
This is obviously going to become a fantastic star.
And so if you're listening to this and you're wondering why it matters, why do we care about naming things and having all these rules and all of these designations, before the appellation system, it really was the Wild West. There was a ton of fraud. They were buying raisins from Turkey and making wine out of that and selling it as Hermitage, and so consumers had no way of knowing what they were drinking, and there was much less awareness of any wine beyond your immediate vicinity. But even those wines were largely pretty crappy, honestly. They weren't very good, and they were often not even French. And so this was a way to protect French winemakers, protect the patrimony of French wine, but also to protect consumers and make sure that they understand what they're getting and that they're getting something that is high quality.
So this has obviously been a lot of work for you. And as winemakers, you're already working very, very hard. So is there a real reason for you why it's important to have this appellation, to have this name on the bottle now? Why are you excited about this now?
Yes, because the difficulty, if we don't sell it a good price, the work is very hard in the vineyard because it's a terraces vineyard, very steep. So if it's a vineyard easy to work with a machine, if we don't sell it expensive, you can produce more and produce cheap wine. But here we don't have the choice to make quality and to sell with a good price.
Mm-hmm. So getting the appellation status allows you to market it at a higher level for a better price.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we are happy because without appellation, all the producer of Sessuel arrive to sell the wine, but to have the appellation, it will be a next step, and certainly it will make the wine more known. And if it's more known, it's more easy to sell, and it's
I think something that we take for granted today in this time, and we touched on this a little bit, but we have, consumers don't realize how much this region struggled and suffered to maintain their connection to wine throughout the difficulties that we already discussed. But this is also about history. It's about reclaiming ancestry. It's about something that has been going on since, Guigal and Fleury Vidal revitalized Côte Rôtie, since you and Gaillard and Villard revitalized Condrieu, which, again, there were 8 hectares of Viognier in the world, you guys. This is, again, we need to have another episode about that because it's crazy. This is a region that is really famous right now, but was not very famous until the 80s, the 90s.
Yes. When I begin during the 80s, I remember I go to Paris or in other place in France, and nobody knows Cornas, Condrieu, where it's come from. It's Burgundy. It's because the vineyard nearly disappeared. So it's right that we were very famous in the end of the 19th century, and the reputation nearly totally disappeared because the vineyard disappeared, and after 50 years without bottles, nobody remember.
So this is about, we're still seeing the pioneers continuing to pioneer, and that's what you guys are doing, and bringing this appellation into the light, bringing it back to life. It was dead, fully dead. This is a really exciting time. It's exciting, and it shows that even though we have all these rules and they feel really old, it's all still really modern. It's all still evolving. It's all still growing and changing, and there's still exciting things that are happening. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's amazing. Thank you
so much
spearheading this and for working so hard. I mean, it is a lot of bureaucracy, and it takes, as you mentioned, a lot of time. So what do you expect the timeline for the future of the appellation to be? How long is it going to take you to get what you really want?
So we expect to have the appellation of Cru in 3-5 years. And I think but the problem, we can plant a lot of vineyard more. I think if we have 100 hectares, it will be...
That's tiny.
Yes.
It's little.
It will be a small appellation, like Hermitage, like Condrieu. But the Northern Rhône, it's always a small appellation. So I don't say that at the beginning, but Northern Rhône, it's under 5% of the Rhône Valley. It's
tiny.
Yeah. And I mean, I think one thing that's interesting as well to me is that right now I feel like Vin de France, which before had a terrible reputation, now some Vin de France actually have a good reputation. So with people being a little bit more open-minded towards drinking things that they might not recognize, do you feel like it's still important because of the pricing, or do you think it's still important because of the prestige, or both?
So Yes, Vin France, it's more and more popular because with Vin France, it's a guarantee the wine come from France, but you have a lot of liberty. You can plant the grapes you want. You can do a lot of experimentation, use barrels or other thing. You can do a lot of. So you have a lot of freedom, and some producer can experiment a lot of things and make some funny wine and so. But for this wine, we want to stay very traditional because for us it's a cru. Even if we are not cru today, for us we work as since the beginning like a cru. So we use the traditional method with barrels. With we make a small yield. In IGP, we were allowed to produce the double than appellation, but because we want to work it like appellation since the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we've seen on previous episodes of this podcast is that often in France, some of the most innovative things are actually taking a page out of the book of your ancestors and trying to bring back something that was lost in these periods. Like you mentioned, these periods of really austere, adversity, phylloxera, wars. So, I mean, it's innovation and tradition coming together in a really beautiful way.
It's very cool, and it's exciting to see it happening in real time now. This is what, a 30-minute, 40-minute drive from where we're sitting. It's very close by.
It's very close to Lyon.
It's very close to Lyon. Well, thank you so much, Yves Cuilleron, one of the most legendary winemakers that is making wine today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And everyone, make sure to find your local bottle of Vin de Vienne.
Yes.
And keep your eyes peeled for that Côte de Rhône status and eventually the appellation, the cru status.
Yeah.
This has been the Real Fishwives of Paris. And it's been amazing. What an incredible journey.
I know. I feel like I've learned so much.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So, merci beaucoup et au revoir.
Au revoir.
À bientôt.